Nothing like trivia. This is called What We're Getting Ourselves Into. David moves his mouse closer to the rocket. Sky throws up on the stone lions. Nick turns the score upside down and plays it that way, rubato, smaller pieces rising into the fire to vanish like metaphors. No better time than now to read Lorca. One idea is to open a door by pressing your forehead against a piece of paper. I brought my own wire and opiates. Another is to paint a giant elemental, too bitter to eat, fruit-bearing question in your mind and stare at the sea until the sea becomes your mind, which will feel hyper-hygienic. Go ahead. Spend years in a steel cage counting syllables, every evening trying to pick the lock with a duck feather, but it's not a competition. I knew a guy who had some sort of castle connection, but it's silly to expect glaciers to share. For me, it's the backyard, maybe a graveyard, or sitting in an old broken rowboat in a meadow until the silvery spear of Apollo pierces the left ear, producing offbeat ectoplasmic squawks it's my job to translate. Of course it hurts. I have a really wonderful student now. He's going into his third and final year at the Mishner program, Yuki Tanaka, who came to SQUA, and that made him decide to go to an MFA program. It was utterly wrong, because the experience in SQUA is not the institutional experience of creative writing. It is generative. Yuki spent the first year of his career as an MFA program utterly disappointed. It just can't be created in an institution. You know, we're used to being around people, being around people having anxiety about all kinds of things all the time, right? If you didn't wake up screaming, you probably didn't wake up. But the cool thing about SQUA is you're surrounded with people and they're all full of anxiety, but they're full of anxiety about writing a poem. More tales from the crypt. Despite its supposed jeweled movement and rocket mechanism, my new heart's no more accurate. Bowstring still snapped, kitten just as frazzled. They wouldn't let me keep my old heart because it was sliced out and burnt, so I wasn't able to take a bite like any warrior would his enemies to become a greater warrior. Nope. Apparently not even worth dissecting or feeding to that emaciated lion rescued from the Dallas junkyard, never to be jarred in my office between my alien skull and complete works of Vesalius and Robert Fripp to show where poetry comes from, like when Matthew smashed through a plate glass door and just kept walking. Fade out. The flashlight my sister swept across the heavens got no response either. When my brother leaves his lab, he's still limping, and our governor's demanding funerals for aborted fetuses. And where's a fetus gonna get the dough for that? Yes, there are dark shapes in the doorways, can't be helped. Today, I found a chunk of amethyst with a face inside you could tell was willing to wait another 1,000,000 years for its scream to come out. So let that be a lesson. Ditto the same cuckoo that followed Tamaj from China tries to follow me but gets slapped back for trying to grope the moon, and don't I just don't. Maybe Jay's right that it all comes down to one untranslatable fragment of Parmenides. like when a dead child is covered with petals or a goat receives a garland of bells. It's a thin red thread that holds the body to the soul. Visibility is a disguise. Thank you.